You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Susan Tran. We want to get right to live images from outside right now. And you can see this is the southern part of Virginia. The roads here are snow covered.
In Norfolk, I-260, you can see it's still snowing down there, and not a whole lot of cars out there on the highway, fortunately, at this hour. Heating the device, stay off the road as much as possible. It looks a little slick right now.
Right. And on the other side of the road, it looks like plows are still trying to work and get to that area to clear that stretch. Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb is joining us now, and this is the southeastern part of Virginia that's getting slammed.
Yeah, that storm system continues to hover across that area in North Carolina. That's why we kind of missed out on this storm. So
I'm excited.
We'll continue to watch really a lot of clearing here in the DMV. No big problems for us except for the bitter cold biting down across the entire region. Really, our wind flow has died down just in the last hour or so, but we'll continue to watch that going into the next 24 hours. What we're expecting at this point, a winter weather advisory is in place for DC and surrounding counties going into tomorrow morning. This next wave of snowfall will lift to the north. It's the backside of the storm system that's going to come through around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I mean, we have repetitive bands from Richmond into Virginia Beach. You have Durham, North Carolina, up towards High Point. That's dealing with kind of the bulk of this situation. Still coming down for St. Mary's County into the I-95 corridor into Fredericksburg and Sneal, but it is quickly pushing offshore. Temperatures as well, 16 to about 19 degrees across western Maryland, and we continue to be in the 20s across areas of Fairfax County. Tonight, it will be a chilly one across the region before this snowfall starts to make its way into the DC metro area. We'll look at Futurecast coming up.
Okay, Janessa, we'll see you then. A lot happening. New details tonight at 9. D.C. police releasing new information on last night's deadly shooting when officers killed a suspect in Northwest.
Investigators now say the two officers shot and killed Surafel Zerhan. Investigators say that the first officer shot the 29-year-old when he drove into a marked cruiser on Georgia Avenue. Then they say Zerhan threatened officers with a knife, got into two different cruisers, ignored officers' commands, and tried to steal a nearby car. And that's when a second officer opened fire, killing the suspect.
And police releasing this photo of the suspect's knife. You can see it here. Investigators say the officers involved have now been placed on administrative leave. Shooting happened only a few blocks from a prior shooting with police just hours before. We'll have much more on that story coming up at 9:30.
New tonight in the district, a former deputy director of a neighborhood safety program known as ONES is charged with bribery. Dana McDaniel helped manage the violence intervention programs here in the district. And in a criminal complaint, it says that she accepted $10,000 in cash in exchange for using her position to direct contracts and grants over to a Maryland business owner who runs community-based programs for high-risk teens. Former D.C. Councilor Trayon White is also accused of taking a bribe to influence the violence interrupter programs.
Developing now at 9 o'clock, federal workers and supporters gathering outside Elon Musk's SpaceX office here in D.C.
They say his tactics to cut federal spending is illegal and will lead to disastrous consequences in the long run for the civil service sector. DC News Now's Ben Dennis was at the latest rally.
Yeah, so Ben, there's of course a lot of fear and frustration for these workers. What are they telling you tonight?
Well, they all bundled up. An estimated 200 plus people gathered outside of the SpaceX office right here in downtown D.C. Earlier tonight, they are protesting in full force, saying that they're also concerned about these sweeping firings, as they're calling them in most cases in many departments. And they're worried about longtime employees of the federal workforce also caught up in the crossfire. Tonight, growing frustration within the federal workforce, a rally targeting Elon Musk, and efforts to cut tens of thousands of federal workers.
We would like him to go away.
Get therapy instead of hoarding money and power.
I'm a federal worker and I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to do my job.
Sarah works for the Department of Labor. Among her biggest worries,
people aren't going to be able to hold their workplaces accountable if they're not going to be able to protect themselves. We're not going to be able to enforce things like child labor laws.
Among the many fired, employees in a probationary period with 2 years or less on the job. Michael Beer says he met longtime federal workers who were caught up in the probationary firings after recently getting promotions.
From NIH, from NOAA, from the Energy Department. I mean, highly sophisticated people, PhDs and whatnot. And they're just getting fired. And they're getting fired and it says you have poor performance.
DC's rally among several promoted to be held across the U.S. today. The National Capital Region is home to about 20% of the 2.4 million members of the civilian federal workforce, and that's excluding military personnel and postal workers. Event organizer and federal employee Paul Asadebe hopes unions are strengthened and more protests are needed.
Public servants are losing the ability to do their jobs and to protect the American public, and we know that that is not what the American people want.
They need to get their butts into the street. We need 10 million people.
Well, the exact number of federal workers who have been fired or will be fired is unknown. We know that around 220,000 people were listed with less than a year on the job, those probationary type workers. That figure as of last March, among the several departments that have already been hit, reportedly the U.S. Department of Energy, Health and Human Services, IRS, and Homeland Security. In downtown D.C., Ben Dennis, D.C. News Now.
Okay, Ben, the hits keep coming. All new tonight, thousands of IRS workers will be fired tomorrow as well. That, according to a report by Reuters, 6,700 workers could be let go. And that really could strain the agency's resources right in the middle of tax filing season. According to the report, workers are being laid off are probationary. They have typically been at the Internal Revenue Service for less than 2 years. The IRS has about 100,000 employees working. In Montgomery County, Maryland senators, they are railing against the federal government layoffs. County Democrats hosted a town hall tonight. The topic, the firing of all the federal workers in several different agencies, many of whom were probationary employees. Our Max Marcilla joining us live tonight in Silver Spring. And Max, dozens of supporters also sharing their own worries tonight.
Yeah, and Chris, we heard a lot of frustration and anger, some concern as well from both lawmakers and the people who came out to this town hall, whether they worked for the federal government and were laid off or not, or if they had no personal connection to the federal government. We heard a lot in this town hall.
Inside a crowded room at the Silver Spring Civic Center, Maryland Senators Chris Van Hollen and Angela Alsobrooks, plus Congressman Jamie Raskin, airing their frustrations to a room of Democratic supporters.
It's not just an attack on our federal workers, it's an attack on the people that they serve.
The layoffs have impacted thousands. Some agencies, including USAID, essentially shut down. Others, like the FAA, letting go of probationary workers.
I'm feeling a real loss because I see so much skill and ability in our probationary employees. It's even a weird word, right? Probationary doesn't mean they've done anything wrong. They've just only been with the government for a year.
Mary Ann, a researcher, says the impacts of the firings go beyond those who lost jobs. It impacts those who get funding and grants from the government.
It's going to set us back a lot, and a lot of scientists are afraid to do their work here now.
Lawmakers were asked about protections for government contractors and the coordination of various rallies.
This has got to be an all hands on deck, come at them from every angle approach, in the courts, in the Congress, and mobilizing public opinion.
That answer only fueling this question from a federal worker.
Yeah, the courts will figure it out. We have to wait, but what are we supposed to do in the meantime? Seriously, what are we supposed to do?
Now, Senator Van Hollen answered that question, and he said, look, it's really up to the courts. He's hopeful that the courts will be able to reinstate these federal workers with some protections. But Senator Chris Van Hollen also admitted that that is not a great answer to that question that we have heard from many federal workers who were laid off. Reporting live in Silver Spring, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
All right, Max, thank you. Nonprofits are seeing a huge drop in donations just as many more federal workers are being laid off and turning to them for help. The Labor Department says more than 1,700 workers in the district filed for unemployment benefits in the first week of February. That is about 35% increase from just the week before. At the same time, food banks say that donations have been declining for the past 2 years. Ahead in our next half hour, we're going to hear from these organizations as they're really trying to keep up with this growing need. Reed.
All new tonight in Virginia, Prince William County police say they've arrested a man who strangled a woman and then hit a 10-year-old girl. Police said the assault happened at a home in Manassas after an argument between Daniel Rossi and the woman got out of hand. The woman and girl have minor injuries, we're told. Rossi faces multiple charges. All right, staying in Virginia, Stafford County deputies say a party crasher wrecked a motel room you can see here and then drove off, but he left behind a key bit of evidence, his cell phone. Look at the damage. The window shattered, the curtains in the parking lot. This is at the Days Inn Motel. Deputies said the man kicked in the door, broke a window. This is a room where people were celebrating a birthday. Investigators say he was drunk and they were able to track him down at a nearby gas station by using the phone he left behind.
A safety crackdown on lead-footed drivers in Maryland. It's a popular stretch that takes commuters from Prince George's County right into the district. Lawmakers want to jack up the tickets for people caught speeding. We're talking upwards of $500. DC News Now's Tim Reed gets reaction along Route 210 over in Fort Washington.
I spoke to some residents here in Fort Washington who say speeding is a big problem on 210 Indian Head Highway, but I got mixed opinions. Some agree with heftier fines while some others disagree.
I think that would be a really good idea. We've lost a lot of families on 210.
Some residents tell DC News Now a proposed bill by lawmakers to crack down on drivers on Maryland 210 can make a difference and save lives.
I've heard many people get hurt, accidents on this highway, just unreal. So I think that would be a benefit to us. And they need to learn a lesson, you know, that would help them to slow down.
The proposed legislation introduces a tiered fine system with hefty speeding fines from $60 all the way up to $500. Under current law, drivers exceeding the 55-mile-per-hour limit by 12 miles per hour or more face a $40 fine with no points added to their license. Some believe larger fines won't make a difference.
A fine, some may pay it, some probably won't. I don't think it will be a deterrent for anything. What they need is more traffic enforcement.
Whatever way the bill goes, police officers in Prince George's County just want drivers to slow down and play it smart.
Our primary focus and priority is to ensure the safety of our citizens. So one of the things that we want to do is to encourage our residents to obey the speed limit.
Lawmakers are expected to hear testimony on the bill Friday in Annapolis. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Tim Reed, DC News Now.